Show. My name is Andre Hill, your host, and this is Saturday Mother's Day weekend. We want to do a shout out, all praises to the Nubian queens of Earth, the women that have given life to all women and all children on this planet, the mitochondrial DNA from the Aboriginal woman. We give you praise and a high five. Mother's Day weekend. Yeah, so it's there's so much that I can say. I've always loved and respect our Nubian women, and even with the illnesses that have been bestowed on our culture through slavery and oppression and jealousy, they still come out shining. They still come out beautiful. And hey, man, I wouldn't want to be without them. So we're going to open up and let everybody chime in on their Mother's Day speech. Hey, we got the chairman up in Detroit. Chairman, how you doing today, man?
Grand Rising, everyone. Summer's in the air. It's a beautiful day today. You know, the old saying about Michigan, if you want the weather to change, just hang around and you get 4 seasons in 1 week. But today, summer is in the air and it's just beautiful. And looking forward to a great show today, very informative. So buckle down, fasten your seatbelts.
All right,
And to all the mothers, even if you don't have children, you've mothered a child, happy Mother's Day. Enjoy this weekend.
All right, so the weather is good, Chairman. Y'all warmed up. You're not living like in the ice, as we used to say in the 50s, the ice box
or the igloo.
The igloo. All right. Well, also we have my son on, Andre Hill Jr. He just flew in from the Rotten Apple. We're trying to send all these New Yorkers back to New York. They done came down here. They have run the rip through prices through the roof. Everything is expensive now in Tampa. And when I see a New Yorker out in the street, I say, hey, man, don't you think y'all about ready to go back to New York? They said, no, we love it down there. I said, what about the mosquitoes, the alligators, the hurricane? We don't care. I can't do anything. They don't want to leave, man. So we stuck with them. But anyway, my son just flew in from New York this morning. Hey, man, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. Flew in last night, though. I had a good time up there with my people. Peace and love, fam. It's going to be another good Straight Talk Network show today. And again, giving a special shout out to all the mothers. Happy Mother's Day to you, from us to you. Listen, I personally wouldn't have came to this planet if it wasn't for the women on this planet. So I want to give a special appreciation to all the mothers out here, because without y'all would be no us. All right, without y'all would be no us. And again, I emphasize, if it wasn't no y'all, I wouldn't have came here. You know, right now. I would just bypassed it, like it was a sight, on the road. But yeah, happy Mother's Day to you, and we wish you well, and send plenty of love.
All right. So, once again, I plan on talking about the Aboriginal people, the maps, and we are building a database. If any of you have history of your family, you remember back in the old days, Chairman, you got a little Indian in your family, don't you?
Right.
All had Aboriginal in our family, it just got all mixed up. But we're going to be collecting. We have an archaeologist with our nation, United Aboriginal American Republic, and you'll be able to go to our website. We're going to be uploading some information, and in that archaeology division, you're going to be able to find out where your ancestors, what possible area they lived in, in the Americas. And even though, when the demons got here and enslaved us, they reclassified us as Negroes to take away our Aboriginal history. So we're regaining all of that, and you very soon you'll be able to go to the website, and we will help you with the process of reclaiming your nationality, step by step. We have, of course, my son is an Aboriginal Juris Doctor, and we have some other attorneys that starting to wake up and get it, that this Republican Democratic ain't nothing but a clown show, good cop, bad cop clown show, and we're losing, and they're enjoying our planet. Hey man, we can't continue with this. Anybody that want to continue with this bull crap, you're a coward. You know, and I'm saying that now because I'm taking the gloves off. You know, these demons, you know, have gone too far, and it's very disturbing when I keep watching what's going on in Israel. But that's another show. let me read what the topic is today. And as I do every Friday on Facebook, hey, I got some slots in my Facebook page. Send me your friendship, you know, and so you can get updated posts. But every Friday I post what we're going to talk, the topics. And here it goes. Good evening, family. Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Straight Talk Network. You can get us on YouTube, just in case Facebook try to do another crazy flip, like they shut down our Straight Talk show and still have not explained to us why they shut the show down, where we broadcast directly from the Straight Talk Network. But you can get us on YouTube and or here on my Facebook page at Andre Hill Sr. So send me a friend request if you're down with the program or up with the program. If you understand that what we're doing is bringing a message of resurrection of melanated people all over the planet, if you want to develop the Christ within you and not waiting on some imaginary Christ that the Catholic Church created 500 years ago, this is the show to be on, because we're going to help you resurrect yourself, your family, your children, and your community. All right. So as stated Facebook on yesterday, in the chairman's book, God's Child, there is a section called Meditative Prose. I forgot to put the E on S, Chairman. This section describes being earthbound, living and dying. Who are the black sheep on earth? The chairman is going to break it down for you in just a few seconds. Also, the hypocrisy of the United States educational system. Scientists have determined that the programs were designed to brainwash our children. Yeah, I hope y'all listening to that. Tune in tomorrow and be expired. Order lucifersrevenge.net, the playbook for freedom and knowledge. So, Chairman, you know, I do remember passing over this in the book, but you have a particular chapter titled Meditative Prose. Can you give us, in your book that they need to go get a copy of, can you give us a little insight on what meditative prose means?
Okay, meditative prose is a form of poetry, but it's like a short story that you can say one line and it could have a poetic feeling to it, but you can meditate on it and probably write a book on it. Or it could be 3 pages of rhyme that you could talk about, meditate on it, you know. But that's what you call it, meditative prose, something to just sit back and look at it from so many different perspectives and give you insight. And in the back of my book, I call it meditative prose, and I've got about 12 stanzas. And I'll start out with the first one, which I really like the most, but you know, you got your choice out of the 12. I call it Earthbound, and it goes like this. I know that when my mind first came here, I thought I was an angel, and I came to rest. And I rest so long I fell asleep. But now I know it's time to wake up. And that interpretation is that we all came from somewhere spiritually to earth. And we must have been angelical in order to survive this harsh planet, even though God provided us with vegetation, fruits, vegetables, but we're here. And now it's time to wake up because we've fallen asleep. We're in a nightmare. Men are killing men, men are killing children, and children are killing children. And it's time to wake up and put this down because this isn't the way that God wants it to be. And we are the ones that have to make that change. Okay, that's what I call earthbound. We came here, we're here. Now we got to do something about the conditions. The next one is living and dying. And it goes, Judgment Day is when all men and women die. They live in that world and see life over until it reaches the point in the reality of the universe that all humans have a just and perfect understanding of what life is and what reality is all about. Living and dying, two different worlds. And that speaks for itself because living, we're here. We're in this existence. When we die, we go into another existence. Now, what it's going to be like, we don't know until we get there, but we're all going to leave here. There's no doubt about that. So it's best to try to do all the righteous things you can and be rewarded in this next existence because we don't know. It's like an old lady said, they were asking her why she pray all the time. And they say, wonder if there isn't no heaven. She said, well, wonder if there is, so that's something to think about. The next one is called the black sheep. And it says, the black people in America are considered the black sheep of the human race. They have always sought to identify with their universal brothers and sisters, but in their efforts, they have gone astray. But time will tell if they regain their spiritual powers and unite their universal family under the power of the human race. And like I say, the black sheep, it's usually whites coin that term that when they had one child that would go astray and befriend all other people, and they called him the black sheep, even though he was white. So we look at in our lifetime, with blacks, we are the black sheep of the human race in America. You know, the Africans, got their basic culture, and we had somewhat of an African culture, but we've developed so many other cultures within our, existence that they turn us as being the black sheep of the human race because we befriend all other nationalities. It's just our nature, but we are godly people. And that's why I call it the black sheep. The next one, to be or not to be. If we play the game of heaven right, our children will grow up in heaven before they die. Anybody who doesn't play the game of heaven right is the devil. In reality, the devil and God are the same person. It is the person with the split personality. He or she really doesn't know which one he or she wants to be. The devil is a negative person. He or she is so negative that he or she really doesn't believe in anyone. He or she does not have respect or consideration for brothers or sisters. The devil cheats. God plays fair. God will win at the end. And that whole thing about, to be or not to be, that you've heard that term before, you got a choice to be what you will. Either you can be a godly person or a devilish person, but we'll know who you are by your deeds. What you do determines who you are, you know, and I get into that a little deeper. And the next one is called heaven. We all have had, we all know that life can be wonderful. We have all had that wonderful feeling at one time or another in our life. When we put heaven back together again, the whole world is going to rejoice and feel heavenly happy. The key to heaven is love, respect, and understanding. As long as we have that love, respect, and understanding for each other, we can get along and we can create this heavenly environment on earth, because that's why we were put here, for that purpose. The next stanza is, let's make this a united heaven. Okay. There are a lot of people who don't realize that they were put here to live and get along with one another and to know and not think about who God is, what God is, and why God is. When we all know what God is, together we can live in heaven. The truth is the light, and people must seek the truth in order to exist. And if you're not seeking the truth, you're going to fall into a rabbit hole and you're never going to get out of it. But if you're seeking the truth, we have access to all the information in the universe to just do marvelous and wonderful things, because all the good things that you see is based on truth, and the bad things are based on lies, evil, wicked, uh, just craziness, so we got to, make this a united heaven by coming together and supporting each other and stop knocking each other down, you know. And the next one is called God's children. When we speak of God, we are referring to the highest. We are the highest that we know of, but we don't treat each other like it. When the day come that all human beings realize this fact, we will enjoy the reality that God created for his children. We are God's children, and life is our gift. It is our honor and duty to help our brothers and sisters mentally whenever possible. We were all put here together. If it weren't so, it wouldn't be. We might as well get along together, because we're all going to be here until eternity. And I say that we're all going to be here for all eternity because everything that we do is a part of our eternal existence. So whatever you do is a part of your eternity, so do the right thing because it's to your advantage. You don't want to go and regret and look back and say, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda. That's not a very good feeling when you know you could have done better. Okay, the other one is called atoms. A lot of us are confused by our minds. Start that over again, getting too much ahead of myself. A lot of us are confused because our minds can only see the outside, the physicalness of reality. Some of our minds have not been developed enough to see the spirituality that brought us here. Our scientific minds have broken down matter into molecules and molecules into atoms. But no one knows where the atoms come from or how they form the features we see. But they come and they go. Only the atoms know. But one thing we do know for a fact is that we are all nothing but atoms. My God is not above me, nor down below. My God is inside of me. My thoughts tell me so. The only man that can truly say he knows God is a man that could truly say all men are brothers. And, that just speaks for itself. There's only one creator, and it created all of life. And we're basically nothing but spirit, because God is all spirit, and we are a part of that spirit. But it's all about, knowing who you are, where you come from, and that you are a part of God. The next one is called the Queen, and it's short. And it says, all women are potential queens. Every queen needs a king. If most men knew the power of their queen, that would truly complete their dream. And women are very powerful, very loving, and we need them because they nurture us. And some women don't want to procreate, but they're still queens. And we've got to respect them for who they are. Okay, now I got one that's called What It Is. To live, to be, to know thyself, to create, to go to the moon, to go to Mars, to understand, to destroy, to die. Why? Everything is everything. As Marvin Gaye wrote a song and he said, in the background, you can hear people say, hey, what it is, brother. And then you hear, oh, everything is everything. So that's where I got that because, we are living, to be, we're here, to know thyself, to create, to go to the moon. Why? It's because it's there. To go to Mars. Why? Because our curiosity. To understand. We want to understand. To destroy. It's a part of life. You have to sometimes destroy in order to make room for the new. And everything is everything, like that atom. The whole universe is based on atoms. So we're all a part of this macrocosm that, we call existence. And then I ended by saying, the mind help those who help themselves, my brothers and sisters. Let's make now a better day. We cannot change yesterday. The mind help those who help themselves, my brothers and sisters. Let's make now a better day. We cannot change yesterday. And I ended by saying the beginning, because now is always the beginning. So that's my meditative prose.
Hey man.
And give me some feedback.
So you know what I'm hearing, Chairman?
Yes.
Your book and the book me and my son just finished, they intertwine. And they're giving the same message in slightly different languages because it needs to be done that way because there are 144 basic human personalities and they hear, touch, taste, see, and feel differently. And so, but your message, and from my perspective, like Lucifer, I call it the Luciferian agenda. And a lot of people, I don't want to hear about Lucifer. Okay, whatever. But what you just said was that they were both one and the same, the creator and Lucifer. And so that should tell people something, that if the creator created Lucifer and uses him as a part of him, when the creator is ready, it will shut Lucifer down. That means all of you people that are buying into this Luciferian agenda, if you don't wake up and listen to some of the elders, and some of the people, some of the star seeds that are on this planet, you're going down with Lucifer. Because if the creator is a split personality, he's benevolent, in general, because he's given life to the universe. But then when somebody get out of balance, then he goes bipolar and say, oh, y'all want to play with me? I'm gonna be the devil on your ass today. Stop hitting you in the ass with them lightning bolts. Caucasian men, pay attention to what we're saying. There are repercussions and consequences to your action. So I like that part about God's split personality. God, the creator, is bipolar, but it maintains balance in the universe. So that's how it ties in with our book, Lucifer's Revenge. Just for starters, everybody in Detroit needs to go out and get this man's, our chairman of the United Aboriginal American Republic's book, just to show you support, because the chairman is part of an organization that's going to resurrect melanated people from the brink of death and destruction, not just in Detroit, not just in the Americas, all over the planet, So everybody in Detroit need to go find the chairman, go get a copy of his book, and let him, just like y'all support the Lions, you need to support our chairman. All right? Because this knowledge and this wisdom is the knowledge and wisdom that's been waiting on our people, our children, You know, it was shunned, made taboo, because the chairman and I, and he, my son, we talk about beings from other worlds. Yes, this is a vast universe. Our dumbasses ain't the only species in the universe. You got to be ignorant to believe that. There are civilizations millions of years more advanced than us, and they've been coming here since the beginning of time. And the chairman been trying to tell y'all, and y'all went like, oh, that ain't right. But wait, but we got a video coming up in a minute to show you how they brainwashed us into believing this dumb crap. All right, okay, so what, there's something else here, Chairman. Yeah, so also you talked about the black sheep syndrome. You know, so this part ties right into our book. That's why they need all of both books. But you know, and Lucifer was allowed. Listen to me now. When Lucifer was allowed by the supreme being to come here, when God turned around and said, "Okay, let me show you my bad side," He allowed that entity to come here, and the original humans were so perfect and natural and balanced. You know, long, beautiful legs, arms, color, dark chocolate skin color to protect you from the sunlight, to live and play in the natural paradise on this earth. So when Lucifer was released on the planet, he had to demolish, destroy that image, that beautiful image, you know. And so he had the dogs out. He got us singing and rap songs. Our women are bitches, hoes, and all kind of crazy stuff. Got us talking about ourselves, you know. Lucifer did a good job. He did a great job on dogging us out and creating the illusion that we were evil. Even though Lucifer was black himself in the beginning, he had to be melanated. Okay, but that's a very interesting piece there, Chairman, with the black sheep part, because you know, if you're going to destroy a people, you got to dog them out. That's how when people they want to destroy somebody, they start, you know, passing around rumors, talking behind the person's back and all that. And that's what Lucifer did about the black race, the original humans. And then when he dogged out the original humans, he got his scientists together, went down into the caverns of Earth. And now this is the part, you guys, I know you have a problem dealing with. You know, but he went down into the caverns of Earth and found a phenocode that was part reptilian, that has been living beneath the surface for a very long time. And he brought that DNA and injected it into the mitochondrial DNA of a black person. That's how he got Caucasian people. They're not natural on the surface, you know. Now, you don't supposed to hate them, you know, because if the creator allowed them to come to the planet, this is an ass whooping we needed. But the ass whooping is over. I remember when I turned 12, when my mother would just hand me out ass whoopings at least once a week. And I got to the point, I don't want no more ass whoopings. So I stood there and she was hitting me with a belt, and I was standing there looking at her like, you can hit me with that belt all day. I ain't crying, I ain't acting a fool. You know, but so I reached this level that, okay, the ass whoopings, I had enough of them, but now I must be responsible for my actions. You know, I'm mature now. Okay, Mom, I know you don't whip my ass enough. I know that what's right and what's wrong. Caucasian men, I understand your dilemma, you know, but you got to let go of that evil shit, you know. And I don't use profanity much on this show, but you got to let go because there are consequences. Killing them babies over there for lakefront, beach, oceanfront property, that's not a good look, man. You know, and you're not, and what you're planning here in the U.S., you plan on, you done gentrified, gerrymandered, you done redline and done everything you can to keep us out of the mix, and we still we rise. So Caucasian man, you got to really back up and start working on getting that beautiful melanated body in the next life. But if you go down this, keep going down this path, you ain't coming back in no human form. Hey, Junior, you've been quiet here. You got some comments. What do you think about the chairman's pros?
Yeah, you said the majority of the comparisons, which I agree with. I like the meditative prose in the sense of manifesting your proper reality. You know, that was biblically, most of the passages in the Bible were designed to do the same thing. That's what they were supposed to be doing, right? That's what they were supposed to be doing. But yet, you know, they were told in a in an adolescent or infantile way for people at the time. Chairman's message is for grown folks, for grown spiritual folks, right? It's designed to spiritually mature you. But yeah, that's what I like. Like you said the majority of the facts about him. But yeah, Chairman. See, Chairman's book is equivalent to the new, upgraded version of what we consider the Bible. Same concept, right? Same concept. Speaking those proper affirmations into your conscious and your subconscious. And what happens with that is, if you do that every day, the same way people read the Bible every day, for inspiration, motivation, and you know, and continuity of staying in a righteous frequency. Chairman's is heavy though. That book is heavy though, Chairman. And gotta forgive me because, you know, Dad was saying to me, he said, "Man, you ain't seen Chairman's book around here." I was like, I don't think I ever seen it around. You sure you got it in there?
Somebody that came and clipped that book.
something happened because I had it. Because I would have read it by now, right? And so, but yeah, I appreciate you giving us some excerpts from it today. And yeah, we got to go find the book or find whoever got the book, because we got to get the book back. Either that or we just gonna have to order another one from you, Chairman. But either way, yeah, meditative prose is beautiful. Indeed. Yeah.
All right, so we got to keep it moving. Like I say, everybody in Detroit, take that Lions fever and get behind the chairman, because if you live in Detroit and when you see UAAR kicking off and setting up alliances with countries all over the world and bringing resources all over the world, y'all need to get with the chairman to get the hook up. Y'all know what time it is. And all of you in Detroit need to go out and get a copy of that book. And the money that comes, the chairman, I've seen his work. I've seen him renovate houses, his own home. He's a genius. And he can teach these things to our youth. Everybody on our panel, we got skills. My son, he's an electrician. He can wire the Eiffel Tower, you know, if you gave him enough wire. So, you know, we are men, we know and understand this mission. We're dedicated, we're benevolent souls. We're here to raise the frequency for the sake of our children. If you stuck in them old ways and you can't shake it, but you know you can't get to your child, give him a chance through our organization. We can reach him. If he ain't going along with you, he's not going along with you for a reason, because of common sense. He sees, that child sees that we ain't got to act together. Even the elders from our generation, we don't have our act together. We told our children to go get educated and go to work for a recessive gene culture that hates you and are jealous of you because you have the original bodies from the creator. Huh? Now make that make sense. Now you want them to respect us for giving them that information instead of building your own banks, your own everything, you know? So I know, listen, Now, I know there have been some challenges. You know, we'll build stuff and we opened up our own banks, and then them demons came along and destroyed it. Guess what? That's because we were praying to the wrong frequency. Here, we're praying and communicating with the right frequency that's going to give us power and protection over all these demons on the planet. Chairman knows it, my son knows it, and we got other people in our organization that understand how this works and how we're going to be protected. But just like Islam and Christianity, those religions were created by Lucifer. Now, don't before you pull out your gun and start shooting and throwing Bibles at me. What's going on over there with Pakistan and India? Islam, Christianity, what are they doing? Shooting at each other. What's going on in Israel? The United States puppet Jewish organization is over there killing Arabs because they don't want to convert to Judaism or Christianity. And you're murdering babies. I'm gonna have it. If I'm on the panel when your souls get ready to come up and you come up there talking about you murdered them babies because you wanted some ocean view property, boy, I ain't gonna have no mercy for you. None. If I was on the panel, but of course, guardians have demonstrated you don't have that authority. But let me tell you something, buddy. Y'all gonna have some hell to pay murdering them babies, starving them, cutting off all the resources because you want some oceanfront property. Sick bastard. Hey, man, can you get that key up that video about the education system?
Yeah. While I'm loading it up, my bad, real quick. And not only if you were active, in other words, complicit or completely involved in the military operations over there, if you support the system that supports the military that did it, you're also complicit in it.
Yeah.
You're also complicit.
Okay, so what he's setting up is the educational system. Now, I do notice that the Trump is dismantling the education system. Is this the reason why? Is he looking out for black folks? No, that's not it. That's not it. Is he looking out for black folks? No. So you didn't get the one.
Oh, you ain't sent it to me.
Sorry, folks. Hold on one second.
Yeah, it's gonna be a minute. So let's reroute. Tell me, let's do this. What's this one about here? Or you want to say this one for later?
Okay. Which one? That one right there? Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead and play that one.
Break the programs that they've been indoctrinated with since they came out the womb, right? So in order for the new world to transpire, they will have to be unalive and they will have to die. And energy doesn't die, it's only transformed. And in that way, they could be reborn in a new world with a brainwashed, fresh, pure mind. So that way they can learn the true, pure teachings, which is the 42 laws of Ma'at, the spiritual laws. A lot of people think they're going to the new world who are religious. The furthest thing from true, right? Anybody talking about, God is a he and you need to do this for the Father and still on that Bible, he shit, they're not coming to the new world. You have to understand, in order to come to this new world, right, you have to understand that we need the masculine and the feminine principles. We need the father and the mother. For so long, they have exited out the mother, and it's always the father. Even somebody commented on my post, everybody needs to repent and bring the father into their spirit. What the fuck are you talking about? Everything, first and foremost, in order to go to the new world, you have to understand that everything is within you. Nothing is external. Nothing is what's outside of you. Everything is within. Right? So if you still got this mentality that God is outside of you, if you still have this religious mentality, if you still feel like God is a man or God is a he, and you still don't even acknowledge the feminine principle, the great mother, ain't nothing can be born into this life without the mother. Ashe Nut, Ashe Mami Wata. We are the galaxy. The sun is the light. Right? So a lot of people will die before, in order for this new world to happen. Y'all seen a lot of people die during the pandemic. A lot of people I personally know died. Like all my grandparents died, my sister died, a lot of people, my cousins, a lot of people fucking died. And there's still more to come, because if you're not pure, and if you're not following the 42 laws of Maya, and if you're literally turning your ears against the truth, like once you know better and you're deciding not to do better, you're deciding to ignore me, you're deciding to ignore the chosen ones who came here to wake up the collective consciousness and get them ready for the new world, you will suffer, and then you will die, and you will be reborn, because your brain needs to be washed, baby. Your brain needs to be washed. So when you're born into this new world, right, when you come and you're born into this new world, then we can program you into the correct programs, the spiritual laws, not these physical laws, not these religious laws. Religion got a lot of y'all about to die, because y'all not gonna be able to break that program. Y'all not gonna be able to break the program that God is a father, that God is a man, and y'all don't have any balance. Y'all off balance, right? Go within, practice purity, love yourself, and all the true answers will come to you. Self-love is the best love. A lot of people are.
All right. Now that's a very powerful statement. And if you want to do your biblical thing, it says out of the mouths of babes, and that is a child that's speaking truth and knowledge. And a lot of you old school people, y'all don't want to hear that, and it disturbs the demons in your soul. But young people like that, send them to us, because they are what we call star seeds. And these are the people that we're going to pull in together and manifest the energy to protect even you ignorant folks that don't want to accept that there's a paradigm shift on the horizon, which means the old system is going to shut down and a new system is going to be installed. Why? Because the old system ain't working. What's going on in the schools? What's going on in the prisons? What's going on in the White House? What's going on in the churches, in the pulpits? It is not working. So you all want to keep staying and pumping money and time and energy into those defunct systems. Hey, like that child said, you're going down with them. But if you got a child in your family that's speaking like that, and you can't understand them, but you love them, send them to us, because we're going to love them unconditionally. We're not going to love them conditionally. We're going to show them love. We're going to home in on their talents and develop it to become cooks, electricians, plumbers, to build futuristic housing, futuristic automobiles that's not damaging the environment. That's how we roll. And you got that other clip ready? All right, so this clip is dealing with the psychology, or as my son say, the psych-ops of how they brainwash our people in the educational system. Go ahead and let it roll, man.
Okay, you're saying they're brainwashing. Okay, you're saying these people that are experts in brainwashing is using the Department of Education to brainwash our children.
Yes.
What are they after? Why are they doing it?
Well, if you want to move a country from a free individualistic economy,
which we have.
yes, or had,
okay.
to a planned economy, you have to do it through the schools. You have to dumb down and brainwash, change the attitudes and values. You have to completely, social engineering has to go on constantly, and many teachers know what I'm talking about. And people are going to say, well, when did this start? And who on earth ever did this? Why would a plan like that be allowed to be carried out?
That's right.
Well, then you have to go back to 1934, which I will do, and we have to go to the three-pronged fork, okay? So I do think that the watershed year, although you can go back to the early part of the century when the Rockefeller Foundation and the Carnegie Corporation were deeply involved in education, and that it was decided then that Carnegie would deal with the international part and Rockefeller domestic. So they commissioned the American Historical Association to put together a study of the social studies, and they came up with lots of volumes, but I have one little volume, Conclusions and Recommendations for the Social Studies. And basically that little one is an original book. I wish I'd brought it with me. Too bad. But I don't even dare let it out of the house. It's so important. It called for changing the United States through the schools from a free individualistic economy to a socialist, collectivized, planned economy in the New World Order.
It says that in the book?
Yes.
And that book was written when?
In 1934. By who? It was the Carnegie Corporation paid for it. The American Historical Association put it together. And
can people get that book in the library?
No. No, they can't. They were very instrumental in getting the Elementary and Secondary Education Act passed, which, as I said before, changed education from knowledge, content-based, academic, to performance-based behavior. And from that time on, because that was necessary for what we're looking at now with school to work agenda is the planned economy is performance-based.
So they're training workers.
They're training
not thinkers, not leaders.
Exactly. At that time, you had a general, Buck Chisholm, a Canadian general psychiatrist, who was a very close friend of Alger Hiss's. And he gave a speech in 1945 to the World Health Organization, which basically recommended getting rid of the conscience.
Wow.
Yes. And he said we would do it through the schools. We would retrain the teachers to be little psychiatrists. He said it is an international system they're looking at. They're going to change the behavior of the children. They're going to change the teachers' training. They're going to do everything. He told them everything.
And they didn't believe him?
No, they just let, well, you know what goes on.
Okay. You're saying they're brainwashed.
Okay. So, hey, Chairman, before I dive into this one, you got a statement about the educational system.
Well, it's not fair. I feel education should be free because we as human beings, we need the best of the best to lead us. And we want someone that is good at what they do. And that's why you need the best to bring us all up to that level. When you go to Africa and their systems, you know, they can take and teach all those children how to carve a lion, you know, do other tasks that they don't separate and put some over here and some over there. They give them all that opportunity. But our educational system over here in the United States, just take Detroit, for instance. Detroit is getting a different education from what Southfield is getting, from what Bloomfield Hills is getting. If you got money, you get a good education. If you don't have no money, you don't. And we know some people that's got a lot of money aren't educated, you know, but they got money to buy their way through. So that's the biggest problem that we have on planet Earth. Education should be free. God would not separate people because of them not getting the education. God puts in us all that spirit, that ability to conquer what we will. But we need the right teachers to teach, and it just elevates and it grows and grows and grows, and it just gets better to that heavenly environment that we're here to do.
All right. Hey, Junior, you got something you want to say before I do my piece?
Yeah, man. I thought that was an interesting clip coming from the two people who were involved. He had two Caucasian women discussing this. One being bold enough to convey some facts about essentially what her own kinfolk were doing. I mean, and I'm saying this objectively. She's a Caucasian woman. Rockefeller is Caucasian. Carnegie is Caucasian, right? But she said, I guess she's doing what you've been talking about all this time. She's working on her next life in melanated body, right? She's willing to tell the truth. And again, I'm saying this objectively, but you know, you see that come from a Caucasian woman, especially that video looked relatively old too. It don't look like it's new.
No, that's an old one,
right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming whatever time she was in, the majority of the people in the world were not where most people are consciously right now. See, that message is very acceptable right now. But imagine how bold she had to be to spit that when she did, right? So, I mean, I commend both of those women for you know, telling the truth, exposing the truth. Now, what she was exposing to, again, we talk about it on the show all the time, that same parasitic agenda, right? That same parasitic motive. And it don't matter what race or species, what warmongering race or species is operate in that type of system. Even when we talk about reptilians in a sense, every reptilian ain't demonic. You just had a certain sect of them that was willing to perform those operations. It's just like what you were talking about earlier. Most High, curated, this entire existence, and it comes with its seasons. This is parasite season, right? So we look at it from that angle first, understanding that's what it is. Everything starts to fall into perspective. So just like you said, what I call it, the psychops operation. That's exactly what that is. In order to control the entire host, you have to pretty much take over or infiltrate the mind first, because we were saying earlier, just what I was saying about Chairman's meditative prose. If you control the mind and what it's thinking and projecting, that then becomes the reality, right? In other words, if you want to control the reality, just start reprogramming the projectors, which are us. And you really, and they really cutthroat but efficient with it. Get the children first. Get the children. You restart reprogramming children. They're the ones that are going to grow up with this program running in their mind, and then this projection of reality becoming real existence. And we know where we at with it now. So it's like you were saying earlier, what we've got going with our indigenous government, that's the steps toward deprogramming everyone. Because again, the Carnegie and Rockefeller were able to convince or pay every government to install these psyop programs on their people. Carnegie is not a politician. He's got money. He had influence, and he had some let's say some relations to these parasitic elite. Same thing with Rockefeller. He wasn't a government personnel. he had some money, and he had connections to the parasitic elite. All right, so we know where we at with it right now. We know what we need to do. So just like you were saying earlier, Apostle, we may run over a little bit. I'm gonna land this plane right here. Everybody that's still participating in the PsycOps program. And listen, we understand it's difficult to erase everything that you ever learned anew and adopt a new or adopt the correct program. Not even a new one, the correct one. But you have to do it for the sake of your own soul and for the sake of the well-being of your children. And I'll land it right there.
All right. So there was some good takes. Every school teacher that get a chance to watch this video, and if you got a school teacher as a friend, a parent, mother, whatever, tell them to watch this video because there was a document made up. I know it wasn't made up 500 years ago. It was brought to the so-called slave masters here in America. It was called the Willie Lynch Letter, How to Make a Slave. And part of that letter says, in order for the slave master to be able to sleep at night and peaceful, you have to create the system. And once you create it, it will spin on its own axis. And the slave master can sleep at night because the slaves will work against each other to protect the slave master because of the psychology. If you are a school teacher and you have never read the Willie Lynch Letter, you need to go read the Willie Lynch Letter. It says to the slave master and the children of the slave master. Now it says you have to take these tactics and improve upon them, as time go on, because the mind has a way of correcting itself. So every time we corrected our mind, the slave master's children over the last 500 years, they say, oh, this is a problem. We got to check this, And for example, You know, right now, you school teachers, if you were in the school with kids, now in the 4th and 5th grade, they're growing to be 6 feet tall. And they decide they don't respect you and go ballistic on you and kick your butt right there in the classroom. What you gonna do? Why? Because that same demon says, well, we're gonna take whooping the child's ass out of the school. Now, I know there's some people, you know, that carries a punishment, corporal punishment too far. Yeah, they need training. But when I was in school and I knew that if I started some ruckus, one of them coaches is gonna get his board and come pop my ass, I thought second about raising some ruckus with the teacher. But that was done intentionally. But yet you believe in the Bible, it says, spare the rod and spoil the child. You know, so I ran a daycare for 12 years. And at 6'2", 200 something plus pounds, if the teachers needed to check the children in those rooms, they said, I'm going to get Mr. Hill. And what they do, they got correct. All right. So the key word that this young lady moved, you know, a lot of Republicans talking about, we don't want socialism and communism. But she said this was a socialist planned economy. The educational system was a socialist planned economy, which means they constructed the learning to create certain behaviors out of children based on certain incentive programs. They had to sit down and think this through. And the incentive programs are not dealing with each and every individual child's personal contribution to balance or their own talents. It was designed on performing. So how do you perform? You can be an athlete, or you can have a photographic memory and remember a lot of dumb crap and repeat it and regurgitate it. What do you say?
I actually got a recent example of this. One of somebody I know, I'm not going to give out no names and all of that. Somebody I know, their child is in a new school program, which is designed to quote unquote teach the children life skills. A little slightly different than the conventional curriculum. In other words, what they did was just what you said, based on the Willie Lynch letter, you know, whether it's real or not, no matter. But they upgraded, they improved upon the system, but they still have the same performance metrics in it, right? So they got the same performance metrics. The point is, they called this person I know to the school about their child and said, hey, your child ain't performing too good in this class in comparison to the rest of the children.
Wow.
We may have to kick them out.
Wow.
Right. Now, mind you, this ain't a program that ain't no special program that you got to pay for your child to be in. It's a system that they came up with at the school and their own curriculum, you know. And so, you know, what it looks like, you know, my point is they're continuing. They ain't gonna stop this. They can't stop it. They have no other function but to be parasitic, right? So they're gonna continue to push this on the children in 2025 and here on until they eradicate it. What it sounds like what they're doing in these schools right now is similar to what they how they measure your IQ. In other words, your intelligence quotient. I don't know if anybody has ever taken that test, but it was based on what it was really is based on is how intelligent, how well can you remember some bullshit based on a particular set of intelligence quotients. In other words, based on your culture, based on your quote unquote income class or whatever. That's what the intelligence quotient test was based on. So you take it and you don't get a high score. Now you sitting here thinking you dumb. You sit here thinking you're dumb in comparison to everybody who was taking that test based on how the test was curated or designed for them. So they're still doing the same thing. They ain't stopping. So again, people, family, everybody who's listening, you don't have much of a choice but to stop participating in a bull crap. You ain't got no choice because they're not stopping, they're not evolving, they're not heading in a direction to evolve themselves. They're going to remain parasites and they're going to remain feeding off you until you die. And then next, they're looking at your children.
Hey, that's the wake-up call. And any of you want to debunk the Wilderness Letter, if you don't think it was an organized letter or structure or scientific document on how to enslave a culture, if it wasn't a uniform document, how did all the slave masters know to implement the same program? You can go anywhere in the United States or most of the world, and you'll see the Wilderness Letter when you're dealing with Caucasians that are controlling it and black folks are enslaved by it. It exists. So try to debunk it, try to say, well, the verbiage was 21st century. Bull crap. It's a scientific document used all over the universe. You can adjust it, whether you purple people or green people, you can use it to infiltrate and conquer a culture. And that's the way it's designed. It's also used to train animals. You know, the same thing. So, okay, so we're already over. And what I intended to do that I did not get a chance to do was to, in my post, because I got sanctified when I was writing about the Chairman's book and this school thing. We have an archaeologist. We're going to try to get her on next weekend. And what she's doing is when you join our nation, you want to try to find out who you are. And that's what we're doing. We're meeting with scholars. We're gathering this knowledge of the Aboriginals that was here in the Americas before even the Caucasians came out of the Caucasus Mountain caves and was cleaned up before then. So let me read a little tape. She's going to be loading this up on our website. And it's a little rough, but at least she's headed in the right direction. She said, the white man erased our history and made it in their own history. They literally stole, destroyed, and hid the true history of the true first people. Why? They rewrote history, caused it to own up to the real history will be to own that. I didn't read that right. They are not superior to black people. That they are not descendants of white kings and queens, but linked to the black indigenous Indians through pure black DNA. Yep, we are all kinfolks. Documentation has proven that our black roots go back as far as 250 BC to 900 AD. Archaeologists, scientists, and explorers from the past have told of the findings of skulls, artifacts, pyramids, and encounters with woolly-haired, dark-complexioned people. So this is what we're doing at UAAR. Everything you melanated people been praying for is here, and it's going to take the Christ in you to manifest what you've been praying for. And this is your opportunity. Come get with us. All you school teachers, you want to continue going to that school classroom and with your life on the line, because these young kids now, they're getting really rebellious. And they don't have no problem bringing a knife, gun, or whatever and taking you out if you continue to want to exert authority supporting this Luciferian agenda. They know it's bad. They know instinctively. Why? Because their little souls just came through the portal and they know the difference between good and evil. And your job is to dumb them down to make them think evil is good and good is evil. That's what you're doing as a school teacher. So you need to come join our nation and let's rewrite the syllabus. Let's write a syllabus where the first 3 or 4 years you're teaching the babies how to respect other humans and the value of diversity in human beings. How about we do that before we start forcing them to remember a bunch of hogwash, you know? So we need to convene and start writing a new syllabus, because it has proven, especially by that video, that this system was set up to support an economy to keep Caucasian men on top, because they can't get on top without lying, cheating, stealing, murdering, and raping. Let's think about this. Let's think about it. Hey, man, next week, hopefully we'll get our archaeologist on, and she's going to show you how to find where you were based on, we're going to try to track, we're not going to do like them other geneticist companies. We're going to go out and dig ourselves. And archaeology, you in the archaeology, come get involved with us, because we're going to dig up some graves and do our own DNA testing and resurrect the true humans of planet Earth, bring them back where they're supposed to be. Because wait a minute, you were on top before. The reason you fell, because you were divided and conquered by the Caucasian, who God created Lucifer to create them to come and test your ass. So now, what does that mean? Stop the divisive measures, come back and love each other unconditionally, and treat people the way you want to be treated. That puts us back into the good graces of the Most High. It ain't a complicated formula. Hey, man, hey, Chairman, we already over, and you know, I can go on and on. You got a closing statement?
Yes. You can get my meditative prose on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, put in Terrence S. Lake, and when you get there, just ask for meditative prose video. And I got other videos there, but you'll get that whole segment about the meditative prose that we went over earlier. And I'm quite sure you'll be well pleased with what you see. And that's my take, and I'll land that plane.
All right. So all you teachers, hey man, can you tell the teachers, send an email, and you know, they getting ready to shut down the education system, and you need to be working on a whole new career in education, but teaching children the right way. And I promise you, I ain't afraid of Trump or none of them fools in the White House. So whatever you want me to do to stand out front, as long as it's righteous for our children, hey, I got my sword in my club. I'm ready to go to war for you. So don't forget to go get the chairman's book. Go order our book, lucifersrevenge.net, and we'll let my son close us out with the email, how you can send us an email and go to our site so you can read up on us. We're going to be updating the site so you understand what our nation is all about. It ain't about ego tripping. If you are a king or a chief, we're going to keep you a king or a chief, but we're coming together because unity and numbers is power. Go ahead, man.
All right, the email. Go to uaarlife@gmail.com. Send it to uaarlife@gmail.com. All right, we'll respond to you. I promise. All right. This has been the Straight Talk Network show. It's been a good one. 12 minutes past the hour. We love y'all. Peace out. See you next week.
Peace out.
Conversation.